हेलो एवरीवन, हिंदी में देखने के लिए डिस्क्रिप्शन में दिए गए लिंक को क्लिक कीजिए. माय नेम इज नीतीश सेखों. आई हैव co-authored these three books of panoramic Indian painting from classes 9 to 12th. In previous videos, we have already covered elements of art, principles of art, and 6 limbs of Indian painting, along with the introductory part of miniature schools, that is Pal School, Jain School, and schools of Central India. In this video, we'll be doing the major and lengthy part of Rajasthani School of Miniature Paintings, its origin and development, sub-schools and features. And before I begin, please subscribe to my channel so that whatever new is uploaded, you get notification ASAP. Before we begin, let's just look at the things that are given in the syllabus. The Rajasthani school has origin and development, sub-schools which are Mewad, Bundi, Jodhpur, Bikaner, Kishangarh and Jaipur. All these schools have their themes and features, but main features of Rajasthani school, which is the third point, we need to emphasize more on them. Then comes study of method and material and appreciation of the following Rajasthani paintings. Before proceeding to Rajasthani schools, first let's try and understand the meaning of the word school and the meaning of the word miniature. First comes school. School is a group of artists who follow the same style, share the same teachers and have the same aims. They are typically part of the same location. So people who are from the same style, same teachers and have same aims, that is what is called a school. It is a kind of apprentice system, means there is a teacher and a student in which new artists learn the skill to ensure that style is continued from master to apprentice. They follow it. It is a kind of skill and a craft which is strictly followed with discipline. And now coming to miniatures, all these paintings from medieval period have been given the name miniature paintings because they are one mini. They are from they have relatively smaller size. And then these miniatures were supposed to be handheld. They were held in hand and then observed from a closer distance due to their details. They were not meant to be put on the walls. Now we come to the Rajasthani school of miniature paintings. The word Rajasthan means abode of princes, a place where princes live. And Rajasthan art was actually traditional Hindu art which developed and evolved in Rajasthan, Gujarat and central India with blend of Persian and Mughal art at later stages. And this Rajasthani art, the main factors why this flourished was: one, economic prosperity of commercial community which encouraged literature, music and arts. These literary arts, performing arts, visual arts all were encouraged by this prospering economic community. Then there was revival of Vaishnavism, which means Sri Krishna and Sri Ram were worshipped a lot by these people and they were very fond of these subjects. Then there was growth of Bhakti cult. Bhakti cult was the time where Mirabai, Surdas, Vallabhacharya, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Saint Kabir, Guru Nanak, all these people came in and they changed the overall caste ideology which was dividing Hinduism. They taught people to take pride in their own religion and slowly this became the whole culture. But later when Muslim invasion started, Mughal Empire started taking power and there was lack of unity in Rajasthani rulers, their states were slowly swallowed one by one into Mughal Empire. The subjects also changed and people, these rulers gave more preference to court scenes and royal portraits. All these came into the subject matter of Rajasthani art. Though Mughal art was too detached, too impersonal and too sophisticated for Rajput taste, the technical elements of expertise, their mastery of line, all these things got blended into the bold outlines and brilliant colors of Rajasthan, and this whole art got more evolved and became more enriched. Now we come to the sub-school Mewad. The rulers can be categorized from Maharana Pratap to Jagat Singh 1 and 2. The whole Rajasthan was affected by the attacks of the Mughals, but Mewad came under their control very late. You must have heard the stories of Maharana Pratap and rulers of Rajasthan which were very brave and who fought against Mughals with a lot of bravery. Now Mewad art is the direct offshoot of Central Indian painting. There are paintings which have dates and artists' name that have proofs that they are dated back to 16th century, starting from Chaur Panchshikha series that we did in Central School. The artists also painted Ragmala series in their initial years under the direct patronage of Maharana Pratap. But during the reign of Jagat Singh I, we see the most developed stages of Mewar, in which there are more literary and religious works which were painted very beautifully. Sahib Deen is the main artist. He was the greatest master of mature Mewar style, whose works are found in abundance. His style brought great sophistication to the earlier folk styled art of Mewar. Coming to Mewar artists and their themes, first is Sahib Deen. As I said earlier, his works are Ragmala, Rasikpriya, Bhagvat Puran, Yudh Kand of Ramayan and the Book of Battles. Then another artist was Manohar. His Bal Kand of Ramayan is very famous. Then Jagannath, who did Bihari Satsai. Other texts like Harivamsa and Sursagar were also illustrated. Then Amours, the whole love story of Radha and Krishna, were their favorite subjects of all times. Illustrations to Dhola Maru, Geet Govind, Ras Manjari were also amongst the earliest known examples of Mewar style. Then they also did portraiture, court scenes, hunting expeditions, festivals, janana activities, the harem scenes kind of thing, sports, etc. were also largely favored as subjects. Coming to the characteristic features, in Mewar you see art in formative stages. The proportions are not perfect and even the features are angular. But thankfully the projecting eye that we saw in Jan school and central India, it got eliminated and the drawing has become more naturalistic. Mewar art in the whole has the fragrance of its soil, the energy of people, the passion, their emotionally charged faces, their sharp features, their robust figures, everything can be seen in Mewar art. They used bold lines, their colors were very brilliant and bright. You see prominent reds and yellows, orange, green, bright blues on flat background, which brings out the contrasting color scheme of the paintings. Then Bhagavad Gita, Ramayan, all these were executed on a wider canvas and there were hundreds of figures overcrowding the scenes. So they did everything in extravagance. The portrayal of birds and animals shows their Gujarati origin, though when you come to the Mughal influence, it can be seen in the realistic treatment of horses and elements. The landscapes overall lack the naturalism and expertise of Mughal school, but still there is freedom of imagination which the artist has used. The second sub-school is Bundi. In 17th century, this place was ruled by Hara Rajputs. We will be doing the patronage of two main rulers. First is Rao Chhatarsal and then his son Bhau Singh. Rao Chhatarsal was made the governor of Delhi by Shah Jahan when he helped him in conquering the Deccan area. Another important ruler is their successor Bishan Singh, who ruled Bundi for 48 years and he was a connoisseur. He was expert in art. Then the artists, early Bundi phase was main artists were Sheikh Hassan, Sheikh Ali and Sheikh Hatim. They introduced themselves as the pupils of the master artists of Mughal court, who were Mir Saeed Ali and Khwaja Abdus Samad. The surviving works of these artists are the folios of Ragini's Khambavati, Bilawal, Malshri, Bhairavi and Patmanjari, among many others. Then the themes which were painted in Bundi were: first, Ragmala series dominated this area. Then Baramasa and Rasik Priya were also later painted. Then mural paintings of royal processions, hunting scenes, episodes of Krishna Radha stories and Rasik Priya were also painted. Then the last stages of the period, there were a lot of murals which were painted in the palaces and a lot of series of equestrian portraits, that is the kings riding the horses, and the drawings of elephants also are quite noteworthy. Now coming to features of Bundi school. Features of any art school are derived when you see a number of paintings of that school where you see common elements. You also see growth, how art becomes more mature from basic to more elaborate, and more expertise is seen in their lines and overall treatment of art. Now coming to Bundi school, here we see the human figures resemble Mewar, but now they are more expressive because there is more shading, more roundness that can be seen in the overall complexion of skin. Their forms also are now more natural and more realistic. During further growth, we see that faces become even more refined. The flesh becomes pinkish. Their water becomes more stylized because they've started putting white wavy lines, and overall colors have also become richer. Then Deccani influence can also be seen. You remember the Rao Chhatarsal had links in Deccan area. So Deccan influence can be seen in the love for bright and vivid colors, cylindrical forms of women, overall gardens, fountains and architecture. Then distinct feature of Bundi school is depiction of lush vegetation. beautiful landscapes with lot of flora, fauna, wildlife, birds, hills, thick jungles and water bodies. Then Bundi artists had their own distinct standards of feminine beauty. Their women are very petite. They have round faces, receding foreheads, sharp noses, full cheeks, sharp pencil eyebrows and a pinched waist. Their climax came in the middle of 18th century when Mughal influence also started showing in their artworks, where you could see more fine lines and face also became more delicate. Then you can also see receding lines for showing perspective. Now we come to our third sub-school, Jodhpur. Jodhpur, also called Marwar, is the largest state of Rajasthan and it is home to Rathore clan of Rajputs. Maharaja Jaswant Singh ruled here in mid 17th century. The peak of maturity in art was achieved during early 19th century under Man Singh. He was a great patron and also a great poet. The main themes were, initial phase was Jain subjects and Jain style of painting because the patrons were Jain merchants. Then Ragmala set was painted in Pali by an artist called Veerji. Then portraits and depiction of court life is also seen later. Due to inclination towards Vallabh cult of Srinath ji, Krishna related themes were painted along with Bhagavad Puran. Then Durga Das, he was a warrior whose equestrian portraits became popular. Durga Das fought war against Aurangzeb and he performed very well in that war. He was a favorite subject for the artists. Then illustrations based on Ramayan, Shiv Puran, Nal Charit, Durga Charit, Dhola Maru, Panchtantra and Shiv Puran were also done. Man Singh, the ruler, was a follower of Nath Sampradaya and you can see paintings of him in company of Nath Gurus. And another Nath Charit was also painted here. Features of Jodhpur sub-school. Initial phase has Jain style and Jain influence because the patrons were Jain merchants. Then we also see native folk style which was widespread in that time. Then strong influence of Mughals can be seen since 16th century. True Jodhpur style came up between 1760 to 1780 when we start seeing rhythmic lines and richer colors in the compositions. Female figures of Jodhpur have very charming simplicity and they have beautiful long uplifted eyes as we see in Chaugan players. There is a simple ornamentation and beautiful lines in that painting. Then Ramayan paintings are very interesting as the artists have employed their understanding of Jodhpur to depict Ram's Ayodhya. This is very unique and we see glimpses of bazaars, lanes, gateways etc. of Jodhpur during that period. In Jodhpur paintings, we do not see much information related to the artist, the dates or anything because till 19th century they did not record much information. Our fourth sub-school is Bikaner. From the very beginning, that is 17th century, Bikaner art was completely under Mughal influence because one, the expelled artists of Mughal courts took shelter here and worked here. And two, because the rulers received paintings as goodwill gifts from the Mughals. The later kings Karan Singh and Anup Singh did some patronage but still there was a lot of oppression of Mughals. We can see some Bikaner art in their palace walls of Anup Mahal and Sujan Mahal. In 1488, during Anup Singh's reign, a library was set up in Bikaner that became a collection, a repository of manuscripts and paintings of that time. Another important achievement during Anup Singh's reign was the building of mandis. Mandis is the name given to ateliers, studios or workshops where artists work. In these mandis, a group of artists used to work under one master artist. The three artists, Ruknuddin, Ibrahim and Nathu, used to manage all these mandis or studios. There were a lot of mandis during this Anup Singh's reign. The subjects painted were mostly from Indian mythology and scenes from Ragmala, Bhagavad Puran and Ras Leela were also painted. Artist themes and features of Bikaner school. First, artists. Ustad Ali Raza was a master painter from Delhi. Then Ruknuddin, his ancestors came from Mughal court and he was a master artist whose style was a blend of amalgamation of Rajasthani art along with Mughal and Deccan style. He painted significant texts like Ramayana, Rasikpriya and Durga Saptasati. Ibrahim painted sets of Baramasa, Ragmala and Rasikpriya. Then Nathu, Nuruddin and Isa were also very well-known painters in the atelier. Themes like Rasikpriya and Varsha Vihar were also painted. Another interesting thing is that most of the artists were Muslims but they could paint Hindu themes skillfully. Coming to the features of Bikaner school, there was a unique custom here in Bikaner that they used to get the portraits of artists made and they used to store information regarding the ancestry of the artists. Then Bikaner was greatly influenced by the subdued color palette of Mughal art. In fact, they used even lesser range of colors. Then Bikaner style of painting had even finer lines and more delicate forms as compared to Mughals. You can take example of Krishna on swing from your own syllabus. The lines speak for themselves, the delicacy of forms, it's all so beautiful. The details of leaves, every single thing has been done very finely. Then Bikaner paintings, because of these mandis and libraries, was the best documented schools of painting in Rajasthan. You see that there are inscriptions in Marwadi and also in Persian where they have names of artists, dates when they were made, the place of production, and even the occasion for which the works were commissioned. Next sub-school is Kishangarh. Kishangarh got its name from Raja Kishan Singh, the 8th son of Raja Uday Singh. And during the reign of later rulers, that is Raja Raj Singh and his son Sawan Singh, art saw a sudden spark of genius when art in other states, the surrounding states, was almost nearing the end. Sawan Singh was a scholar and an expert in music, poetry and painting. He was a devotee of Krishna and follower of Vallabh sect. He wrote more than 50 books under the pen name Nagri Das. Now, his love story with Bani Thani is very favorite amongst artists. Sawan Singh fell in love with a girl who served as an attendant to his stepmother. This girl was called Bani Thani because she was very smartly dressed. She was a singer and had good knowledge of poetry. They both got married and went to Vrindavan to spend their life together. They both became the popular subjects with all the artists here, and they were portrayed as Radha and Krishna. Now, the artist Nihal Chand was the most celebrated artist under Sawan Singh. Nihal Chand has worked here for more than 20 years and he has composed paintings on Sawan Singh's poetry. Themes and features of Kishangarh school. Krishna Leela themes were all-time favorites of Rajasthani school. Then the subjects like life-size portraits of Rajput princes, Ragmala series, camel fights, court scenes of pomp and ceremony, the religious texts like Bhagavad Puran, Ramayan, Mahabharat, then literary texts like Bihari Chandrika, Nayak Nayika Bhed, Geet Govind, and even erotic themes were also painted here. Now features. Kishangarh school is the most stylized of all Rajasthani miniatures. Stylized in the sense that everything has been made in a decorative manner to make it look more attractive. Then there is a general tendency to elongate the human forms, be it man or women. They look taller than the rest of the miniatures. Then there is a distinct facial type in Kishangarh school. Their faces are long with high and sloping foreheads. Their eyebrows are arched and they are like a bow. Then eyes are long drawn in shape of a lotus petal and they are slightly tinged with pink. They have drooping eyelids, sharp slender nose, thin lips and long chins. The beauty of women in Kishangarh school is a great achievement. For example, Bani Thani. Their women are slim, flexible and tall like creepers. The face and body are always in profile, that is Ek Chashma. Ek Chashma means one eye. Chashma means eye. So everything is in profile. The eye is covering large area of the face. Long fingers, long necks, they enhance the beauty of their women. Eyes are also compared with wagtail. Wagtail means Khanjan Pakshi in Hindi. There is a lock of hair hanging near the ear which is a very special feature in this school. Then they have used green lavishly to depict their panoramic landscapes. Radha and Krishna themes are inclined towards devotional love. Radha and Krishna stand for human soul and God. We see symbolism in their paintings. If they have made figures, trees, animals, they are a symbol to convey an emotion rather than depicting a mere incident. Even landscapes also stand for a certain emotion. Our last sub-school is Jaipur. The Jaipur school of painting began in its former capital called Amber, which was geographically very near to Mughal capitals of Agra and Delhi. One of their rulers, Raja Bharmal, married his daughter to Akbar, due to which close alliance with Delhi remained and influence in art also remained very deep. Later, when Savai Jai Singh came, he shifted the capital to Jaipur and independent Jaipur school of painting can be seen here. He reorganized Surat Khanas, which were the workshops of artists, and paintings were made and stored here. Later in 18th century, when Savai Pratap Singh came, Mughal influence decreased and Jaipur style emerged as a blend of Mughal art as well as the indigenous local features. Pratap Singh was a scholar, poet, writer and an ardent follower of Lord Krishna and got around 50 artists in his workshops and art flourished here. Themes and features of Jaipur school. Themes of Radha and Krishna dominate here also. They painted sets based on Rasik Priya, Geet Govind, Baramasa, Bhagavad Puran, Ramayana, Mahabharata and Ragmala. Then portrait painting was also popular and main artists were Sahib Ram and Muhammad Shah. Then subjects like life-size portraits, Rajput princes, camel fights, elephant rides, boar and tiger hunts, ceremonies of royal courts and even erotic themes were also painted here. Features are dominance of Mughal style in subjects from Hindu epics and romances of Lord Krishna. Then another interesting feature is that heroes' figures in the compositions look like their kings. So this is how the artists used to please their patrons. Then you see a blend of Mughal expertise in limited use of colors and sense of perspective and space in the background, plus Rajput style in bold composition and use of stylization. So this was a good blend in Jaipur style. Many copies were also produced by means of tracing and pouncing. Pouncing is a technique in which you make small pin holes in throughout the composition for drawing, run ink or color powder through it by rubbing so that the impression of the drawing comes in the paper kept below. Then by early 19th century there was lavish use of gold. Jaipur as a whole preferred large size formats and produced life-size portraits. After finishing all these sub-schools, there is a big question now that you will ask, ma'am, how will we remember these sub-schools? Now I can give you a small tip here. Intelligent students can do it on their own because they are intelligent. Now people like me who find it difficult to remember all these things, I'll give you a tip here. Take a double page of your register, divide them into columns like the one I've shown you in the slide. This is how I used to do it. Divide them into Mewar, Bundi, Jodhpur, Bikaner, Kishangarh and Jaipur. Write the main points in terms of rulers, artists, themes, features and highlight their unique elements. Like Mewar had strong Jain influence. Then Bikaner had Mandis. Kishangarh had that love story. Many things you will find are overlapping. So they are easy to remember. So unique elements you can highlight with your markers and then with your photographic memory you can remember this whole page for your exams. After finishing the sub-schools, now we come to the main features of Rajasthani school. Since we have done features in sub-school, we just need to combine them. So first comes diverse subject matter or diverse themes. This can come as a short note also, or you can include this as the first point in your features. The themes of the paintings can be categorized into mainly 4. First, religious paintings. Indian epics like Ramayana, Mahabharata, Bhagavad Puran, Durga Mahatmya were painted in abundance. Then literary paintings. Paintings on devotional poetry, romantic poetry and Indian music were also their favorite themes like Geet Govind, Sursagar, Ragmala, Rasmanjari, Nayak Nayika Bhed, Rasik Priya, Ramchandrika, Kavi Priya, Baramasa, Panchtantra. They are the examples of their literary themes. Now you must be wondering what they are. Geet Govind was written by Jayadev. Sursagar was written by Surdas. Ragmalas are the personifications or pictorial interpretations of ragas and raginis. Rasmanjari, Nayak Nayika Bhed is the discussion of heroes and heroines. Rasik Priya, Ramchandrika, Kavi Priya and Baramasa were written by Keshav Das. Baramasa was the 10th chapter of Kavi Priya where it shows different seasons in 12 months. So these are all literary subjects. Then paintings on folk legends and romantic tales were their favorite themes like Thola Maru, Soni Mahiwal, Mrigavat, Chaur Panchika, Lorchan. These were all painted a lot by these artists. Then fourth category, general, social or royal themes. You see court scenes, you see battle scenes, hunting expeditions, picnics, garden parties, dance and music performances, rituals, festivals, wedding processions, portraits, night scenes, general life. Everything has been covered in Rajasthani schools. The second important feature is linear beauty. Since this art developed from Western and Central Indian schools, initially you find bold lines, but later lines became thin, rhythmic, soft and graceful in all sub-schools of Rajasthan. After lines, we look at the colors. Colors bring out all emotions in Rajasthani miniatures. For example, red is used for anger and passion. Yellow is used for marvelous deserts. Blue is used for royalty. And mostly these colors are very bright and there is not much of mixing. You will find that colors have been used purely like reds, yellows, blues, and they are all flat. Even the background is flat. In some paintings, you will find that there is use of golden and silver colors also. Another observation that we can make is that paintings are two-dimensional. The contours, the outer edges, be it figures or any objects in the composition, they are all outlined with simple lines. The colors are also flat, and even backgrounds do not have any gradation. So whenever we have to bring 3D effect in the composition, we have to use light and shade, tones, and depth and perspective. But since all these things were not important for these artists, the paintings look two-dimensional. Spiritual love and symbolism is the strength of Indian art. Radha and Krishna have been depicted symbolically in the form of human soul and God. Even gopis stand for devotion. Central theme is always love, which is conceived as the symbol of spiritual union. Even the natural elements like birds and animals are used as tools to depict bhav, be it Ragmala or Baramasa. The paintings of Radha Krishna, Nayak Nayika Bhed, Ragmala, Krishna Gopis, all these are a few themes which glorify the romantic element of Rajasthani art as well as the overall passionate character of its people. Another important feature is stylization, which means use of decoration to increase the overall appeal of the painting instead of showing things realistically. Look at the trees, they are ornamental. Repeated shapes of leaves are painted in light and shade. Even if you look at the human figures of ladies or their faces, even they are stylized. Human figures of Rajasthani school. During the initial period of folk art influence, figures were all identical. They had round face with pointed nose and elongated eyes. Even the body is smaller in proportion to the face. But all this improved in later decades. Men have robust body, yellowish skin and hair reaching till their ears. Female figures have brighter skin, shapely bodies and expressive faces. All human faces are shown from different angles and mostly faces are in profile, that is ek chashma. Next we come to depiction of nature. Nature has been beautifully depicted in Rajasthani paintings. Different trees, mountains, deserts, water springs, floral trees, lakes have been successfully depicted here. Animals and birds came in as Mughal influence and they were not done very expertly in the beginning, but later their overall drawing and painting also improved. And another thing is that nature complements here as a tool for bhav, for emotional expression, be it clouds, birds, trees, flowers, streams, they all add to the idea of romance, be it lovers in union or lovers in separation. Now we come to the women of Rajasthani miniatures. All women look very feminine, charming in all their moods. They have soft faces, long necks, high sloping foreheads, long pointed noses and well cut lips. Even their limbs are shapely with thin fingers. Their beauty has been compared with natural examples like metaphors. Their bodies are slim like creepers. Their eyes look like wagtail. Or shape of the eye has been compared with the lotus petal. Eyebrows look like the shape of a bow. And very interestingly, they all resemble each other. Probably one face was duplicated for all. You can take the example of Kishangarh women. There is a lock of hair hanging near the ears. So all Rajasthani miniature women are very beautiful. After figures, now we look at their ornaments and garments. Diamond and pearl jewelry has been made in fine details. The royal jewelry is consisting of earrings, rings, armlets, bangles, necklaces and even elaborate jewelry on the forehead. Garments are also in great variety. Ladies are shown wearing lehenga choli with transparent dupattas. Males are wearing high turbans. They have Mughal style garment which is pajama and long kurtas which are tied at the waist. You can see floral prints and stripes in the garments. Then comes landscape and Baramasa paintings. Paintings of Baramasa are the depiction of various seasons during 12 months of the year. Water in these paintings is a mix of blue and black and waves are shown in white. In Bundi paintings especially, there is a red band of sunset sky which is seen along with blue. Then there is sunrise in golden colors which also looks very attractive. Perspective was never much of interest to the Rajasthani miniature artists, but some depth can be seen in the later stages in the landscapes. Then we see the effect of folk art and influence of Mughal art. Folk art is very prominent in Rajasthani miniatures before they got influenced by Mughal art in later stages. Lines and colors improved and even the complexion of skin became more Indian. The hunting scenes and court scenes also came in as the effect of Mughal art. Then we see night scenes. They also look very attractive. Black and smoke grey of sky gives beautiful contrast to the white and yellowish golden color of moon and stars. The colorful foreground of human figures also looks very good in the night sky. Some paintings are large in size. In comparison to other paintings of Rajasthan, the Kishangarh paintings are larger in size and they were called as Pichwai. Then art was also for common people because they showed general life in it. It was not only restricted to royalty. The themes of religion, romance, social life, they had reached the common people as well. Daily life activities, festivals, village life, marriage processions, all these were very popular at that time. Then crowded scenes are handled very skillfully. Like some paintings, Govardhan Dharan, there are a lot of men, women and animals, but they have been painted in large numbers very skillfully. Last is depiction of architecture. Palaces have domes on them. We also notice brickwork and marble work in buildings. Some of the buildings have white lattice, which is jali work of Mughal style. And this is true for all schools where we see local architecture of that time. That's it for now. Method and material and description of paintings I'll be doing in the second part of the video. So take a break and watch that too. Sub-schools in this video have been done in greater detail if you will compare it with the book to give you more clarity. Now here are a few questions, short notes and MCQs to give you some idea as to what kind of questions are asked in boards and exams. So, thank you very much. Best wishes to you and goodbye.